You're now locked in to the Stoic Builder podcast. Stoicism teaches us to master the self, to build our lives with reason, resilience, and virtue. It is the art of inner architecture, constructing strength where there is struggle and clarity where there is chaos. In the trades, a builder begins the same way, with a foundation. Without a level base, nothing built can stand true. Once the foundation is set, the walls rise strong, measured, steady. Then come the inner systems, the unseen parts, vital yet quiet. And above it all, the roof, shelter from storm and time. But a careless leak left unseen can rot it all from within. So too in life. This podcast is where that metaphor lives, where craftsmanship meets character, where we speak with tradesmen, thinkers, who build with their hands and their minds, who see life itself as something to be constructed with care, by code, with love, because building well, be it a home or life, is not a single act, but a steady process, one brick, one day, one virtue at a time. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Stoic Builder Podcast. Today we're talking about SkillsUSA. We're going over, what SkillsUSA is and how our students prepared for it, and those that competed regionals and that went to state competitions this year. All righty. Well, with that said, welcome, guys. How you doing today? We have Adriana, we have Rene, and Frankie. Let's start with you, Adriana. Give us a little bit of an intro. A little bit of present yourself and let us know how you ended up here at Construction Tech.
Okay, so my name is Adriana. I go to San Jose High School, and I actually didn't want to be in this class originally. I wanted to go to medical. Medical was my first choice. Construction was my second. And I just ended up here. And then after I got here, I was like, man, I'm the only girl. I kind of don't feel comfortable in here. It's like super competition because everyone would look at me and they're like, girl, get out of here. What are you doing? And I actually fell in love with it here. And then I got student of the year. So, yeah.
Student of the year last year. And student of the year this year. Fantastic. You speak so vaguely about your accomplishments here, but we'll get a little bit more into that. Welcome to the Stoic Builder Podcast. How you doing, Frankie?
Good.
All right. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how'd you end up here at Construction Tech?
Well, my name is Francisco Gomez. I was originally in auto tech, but without a license and without a car, it's kind of hard to build your skills there. So I saw this class and I really just figured this might be a better option because I'm not going to get my license till I'm 18, which really soon now. So I just really wanted to build skills that I could apply to the future. And this one really caught my eye.
All right. Welcome, young man. Rene, tell us a little bit about yourself, briefly, and then how did you end up in Construction Tech?
So my name is Rene Ramirez, and I got into this program with my counselors. I saw it in the cafeteria. They're explaining like the programs they had at ROP, and I have family in the construction trade, so I thought it'd be a perfect fit.
Nice. Cool. So I got a couple brief questions that I want to gloss over about. So this episode's about SkillsUSA. So what is SkillsUSA? SkillsUSA is a competition with similar schools like this, like other ROPs or other vocational high schools and trainings, where you go and you compete, right? And you just don't compete like we do construction. This is Construction Tech. And even in Construction Tech, they have carpentry, they have electrical wiring, they have masonry work. And me being a former electrician but teaching a full broad spectrum of construction trade, I noticed that you guys gravitated a lot more to electrical, maybe because I hype it up a lot. I think the electrical trades are amazing, whether it's industrial, commercial, residential, solar, you specialize in one particular. So we learn a lot about that kind of stuff, but we also do carpentry and all the other, plumbing and stuff. But I noticed that most students gravitated to electrical here. And SkillsUSA, like I mentioned, it's a broad spectrum of competitions, right? here at Eden Area ROP, we have, I think about 12, don't quote me on that, but a little over 12 different courses that they teach, everything from firefighting to auto mechanic to auto body to medical, dental. Now, you come here, you learn those courses from junior to senior, and they have a competition called SkillsUSA where you compete regionals. If you win regionals, then you go to state. And if you win state, then you go national, right? And so that's what SkillsUSA is. So that's what we're mostly going to talk about. But I do want to ask you guys some questions too, just about Eden Area ROP and your journey here. We'll start with you, Rene, since you have the microphone. Knowing that this was a course available, you came in junior year. I was my first teaching too. So it was your first year at construction tech, and it was my first year teaching here at Eden Area ROP. How do you feel this course, junior and senior year, prepared you for what is next to come, right? Whether, I don't know if you're going the college route. I think we spoke about it, but you're ready to go in the trades. How do you feel this class, this course, ROP prepared you for what is to soon be real life,
I think it prepared me for mostly everything, but especially electrical, because we've been doing it for like 2 years now. And I think I could be more prepared in carpentry because I haven't had that much practice in it.
Okay. All right. We'll touch a little bit more base in carpentry. We still got a couple months then. How about you, young man? How do you feel this course, not necessarily just construction tech, right? But like the idea of a ROP. You come from auto tech. So you got to see two different courses. Yeah. How do you feel about this type of course for high school students?
I think this type of course is amazing. Like, if you have the opportunity to do a trade in your school, you really just take that opportunity, because if not hands-on, but if schoolwork like book work and math and stuff isn't for you, you'll learn it in the trades, but not to an extent where it's super confusing. You'll all get a hold of it. So I think it's just a great opportunity for any kid that has the chance. And I love that. It's preparing me for life.
Good. How about you, young lady? You were going to go into medical. Medical wasn't available. So you got a different path as a vocational training, and you ended up here in construction tech. Now, doing construction tech, I also got you as a junior. Being here 2 years, how has this course molded you and prepared you for what's next to come after high school?
I feel like it's really prepared me to work with men, especially because the construction trade is mostly male dominated. I felt like when I first got in here, I was not ready at all. Like, I was like, OMG, I'm the only girl here, really? This is so scary. And now I feel like it's whatever.
You just circles around the guys when it comes to
right.
the electrical. Okay, cool. All right, fantastic. All right, let's talk about SkillsUSA, right? So SkillsUSA is not an easy competition, right? First, they have the regionals competition, right? They'll send us the plans, and then we have to build out exactly what the plans say and record yourselves doing it, but without knowing what the plans are going to be. So we here, knowing that we wanted to do the electrical wiring, and the electrical wiring isn't easy. I have a lot of respect for the work you guys put in. It's not an easy competition. As a matter of fact, what you guys, I think the first regional competitions which you guys had to put together, I would even say like maybe, 60% to 70% of electricians their first year don't know how to do what you guys were able to execute, or what they ask you, right? So the great thing is that you have this classroom to practice in. You're coming in, you're focused, you have a great instructor, right? So let's talk about how the regional competition was for you last year and this year. How did you feel about the regional competition?
So regionals, I felt kind of nervous just because it was my first year. I didn't know exactly what to do. But with the plan that they gave me, I got to look over that one before I started my video, and then I did the competition. I turned it in, but I was kind of very nervous for the interview, the exam as well, because I was like, OMG, what do I do? What do I do? But then once it passed, I felt really confident.
Good. Nice. How about you, young man? First time competing, you're coming from auto tech, you're here, you're competing regionally, but also you're competing with two former students that did the electrical competition last year and plays. We have first place regionals last year, second place regional last year, and then it switched up. First place regionals competition this year, second place regional competition that year. So knowing that the competition, the trophy holders of regionals are right here in this classroom next to you, what actually gave you the tenacity to come in here and want to compete? And how did you feel about it?
I saw the opportunity to hone my skills in, and I really just wanted to keep on improving. I saw them keep on going, so I did my best to just bring myself and gravitate toward them mostly to ensure that I'm building up my skills with them. The first and second place winners are obviously going to know the best. So I really just kept on trying myself and trying to build up these skills.
Nice. You did well. Rene, how about you? Last year, you're coming in, you're a junior, you're very competitive. You wrestle, you play football, you do a lot of things, the sports kind of guy. How did it feel to want to compete in regionals last year and this year, and then know that you placed first and then second this year? How was that?
It was pretty nerve-wracking because I seen Adriana's work around the class, like all her electrical work. So I knew I had to compete with her because it was really good. So I think I was more prepared this year, but yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. Cool. All right, guys. Now that you have the microphone, I want to ask you this: How was it hearing that you placed regionals again and that we were headed to state? How was that feeling? What that putting you? Because like I mentioned, guys, that competition is not easy. I looked over the other competitions, carpentry, plumbing, and electrical. Though we don't fire up our electrical, live and work on it live, we do fire it up. We do test it. And, say that you get something wrong, something could happen, right? Of course, it's all in a safe environment. I'm here, and we do everything to code, and we really focus on making everything safe. But, there's still that possibility. Working on electrical systems and knowing that you placed on one of the hardest competitions, how'd that feel? How was that for winning?
I didn't expect to win because when I seen like the picture, I didn't think it like matched the drawing that they gave us. So it was pretty cool when I saw that I actually placed.
Nice. Cool. Were you excited? Did you call your parents? Be like, "Hey, Mom, I won."
Well, my mom, she does like wiring, like soldering. So she
No way.
Yeah. So she kind of knows like the wires and stuff, but she doesn't. She was pretty excited for me. Yeah.
Very proud of you, I bet, knowing that it's not an easy task. All these wires. I remember when I used to look at electrical systems and I just see things open up when I was young. I'm like, what is all this? Even when you break like I don't know if you guys know what a Walkman is, but when like a boom, not even a boom box. I don't know if you guys know. But when you see all the components, you see all the wires, that's how I felt about electrical when I first started. I'm like, what are all these wires? Like, what are all these colors? So congratulations, man. Congratulations. How about you, young man? How did you feel knowing you placed in regionals competition and you were headed out to state?
Honestly, since it was my first year, I was completely shocked. I was like, I just thought it was like a blessing, really. I was like, dang, that's crazy. I placed, really? Like, I thought, because with the interview, it was like my first ever real interview and stuff. So I definitely got nervous on a couple of the questions. I was all over the place for some of the competition. And when I saw that I placed, I knew it was working in my favor. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Hey, you guys put in the work. You guys put in the work. Nice. Adriana, last year, placing second place, right, which is it demands a lot of respect. Coming in here being, I think, the only lady in the class that year, not only did you outwork all the, no disrespect, y'all, you knocked a lot of your own classmates out of even the opportunity to compete, and then you compete and you placed second last year, and then you compete again this year and you place first place this year. How was that? What brought that fire inside you? Would you say, you know what, I'm going to dominate this?
So last year it was kind of disappointing just because I got second place. I felt really confident about my thing, and I was like, whatever though, because then I looked at the score sheet online and I seen that other schools competed and they got third and fourth, and I was like, I'm fine. And then this year, when we actually like entered the classroom and I see Rene here, I went up to him and I said, Rene, I'm coming for you this year. And he said, okay, we'll see. And then I did. I got first place this year, and I felt really proud of myself.
Nice. You should be very proud of yourself. All of you cut your time down short from whatever time you had last year to like maybe half. So you guys came in and you guys killed it this year. All proud of all three of you. We also had a fourth contestant, but she didn't want to go to, she had baseball. Amazing student too. She'll be in later podcasts to come. All right. So regionals and the state journey. Let's talk about that. So SkillsUSA, like I mentioned, regionals happens here, right? If you do place in regionals and you guys placed, how was the journey? So the journey is from here, Northern California. We got to go down to Ontario. It's a 4-day trip. We're there. How was that? How did you enjoy the journey down to Ontario? What were you feeling? What was the optimism you had? Were you a little afraid, or what? How did you feel about that?
So last year I felt super nervous, like I said, just because it was my first year. This year though, I felt super excited, super confident, especially because I got my own seat on the bus. That was the best for me.
Nice.
That's what I enjoyed.
Nice. How long was the ride? How long were we riding for? Like
6 hours.
6 hours?
It felt like longer though.
Nice. How about you, buddy? How is the whole journey down to Ontario after you placed regionals? You got the golden ticket to go out there and compete. How was it?
Like she said, nerve-wracking, nervous. Like I felt nervous. But when I was there in the hotel, I met a bunch of new people. We were roomed with two other kids in I think auto tech and welding. They were pretty cool. We were able to switch beds. The only part that I didn't like was the hotel room was very cramped. We had 4 people with 2 beds. So that one had to find out situations, sometimes on the floor and sometimes not. Yeah, other than that, it was just amazing to meet new people, see what people are learning, how people are going to compete, what they're competing against. And then going against the actual competition it was something. It was a whole cool experience.
Nice. How about you, Rene? This year and last year, how was it? Knowing you won, knowing you got the golden ticket, you're headed to Ontario. Was this one of the first times you ever left? Or you've traveled before for sports, right? How was this travel?
This travel was pretty fun because I had a lot of people that I knew compared to last year because it was my first year, so I didn't really know anyone. And I think it was pretty fun. And seeing the competition at the conference at the SkillsUSA, that was pretty scary. Just trying to find out who was a electrician. So, yeah.
Nice. Now, guys, quiet on set, please. You're quiet. I could hear your whispering. Sorry, we're filming this on a live classroom with students as audience. I got another question for all three of you. How was the so SkillsUSA? We just don't go there to compete. We go there for an experience. There was the open ceremony. There was the social gathering. We also had enough time to go see, the robotics, the robots compete because they do robotics. They do a broad spectrum of competitions. How was that for you? What was the vibe? What did you like most about that?
It was an amazing experience, like seeing all the other competitions, like the robotics. I didn't even know that was a competition, and seeing like how the systems work. It was pretty cool.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. How about you, buddy? How was Skills USA as a whole, from the experience, the open ceremony, the I guess the concert DJ vibe and the food? How was that for you this first time?
It was amazing. Looked super organized, seeing all the people there with the same uniforms and stuff for the opening ceremony. That really, that's the first thing that put me into shock. I was like, whoa, everyone's here with their own skills, ready to work.
At such a young age,
exactly.
all of you, right?
Some are down to middle school. I was like, it was all just amazing. And then for the concert, it was, at first, I'm not a super big dancer or anything, and I was like, staying in my shell. But after a while, you just have to come out your comfort zone, right? I went in there, I started dancing, and just had a great time. It was amazing.
Nice, good to hear. How about you, Adriana? How did you like the vibe, the opening ceremony, the camaraderie behind like all these people just coming from all over California, and they're just coming there not only to compete but also to meet each other and just have a good time and also bring their skills in there? How was that for you?
For me, it felt really like fun, really happy, just because this year I feel like the vibe was better.
Mm-hmm.
Like the theme was better because last year was Barbie and it was around like the Barbie movie time, and we were like,
yeah, that was cheesy.
But this year is like so much fun. The music was like different from last year, and literally every time we walked by outside, all you would hear was a Barbie Girl song, and it was like played every 5 minutes. So
last year,
it was good. Yeah.
And this year the theme was a rodeo.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think the rodeo touches many cultures.
Right.
Because rodeos, they even have them in Brazil. Rodeos, I'm pretty sure they're worldwide. But there's a big Latin community there that you didn't. They were there last year, but you didn't see it because no one gravitated kind of to like the Barbie theme, is like, and I don't think guys also kind of gravitated to the Barbie theme last year. But this year was like rodeo, so people came out with their cowboy hats, and it was cool. It was cool, and they played different music too, Spanish music too, which is really cool. It was a vibe. It was a vibe. All right, cool. Now that we set the stage, right? We know that Skills USA has a standard. We know that Skills USA is more like thousands of people. I'd probably even say in the tens of thousands, maybe 12,000. I'm not sure, but I was like 8,000 to 10,000 competitors. So it's a big organization. It's a big task that they have in their hands. Let's talk about the competition itself, right? Briefly tell me about last year's competition compared to this year's state competition. We talked about regionals. Let's talk about the state competition and what we ran into, and what I really want you guys to kind of get off your chest. Describe to me last year's competition headed to state when you arrived. How was that?
Last year's competition felt very well organized. Like when I got there, they were like, okay, here's what we need to do. Here's a plan. Let me look at your PPE and let's go to work, right? This year, it felt very like we got there and we were disappointed because we got there and nothing was up yet. We had like no tarp. We knew it was going to be very hot that day. And like we barely got to look at this, like the plan, and other people got to look at it longer. It felt unfair this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pass it to Rene real quick, because I want to tell me about last year's competition and how you felt it was different from this year. Try to describe what we showed up to last year to the state competition for the electrical wiring, and then what you saw this year.
So last year, as she said, it was really organized. Like the pallets, like all the material was behind us. It was like organized behind us, and they had like enough material for everyone, for all the competitors. And compared to this year, it was like a mess. they were still getting material. Your kids were helping them go get the material, like walk all the way over there.
Brought my children.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were just, everyone was trying to help, and they knew it was hot. As she said, there was no tarp either. They didn't have enough pallets for the competitors either.
Mm-hmm. Can someone close that door, please, over there? Can we keep it quiet over there? I can hear you guys. Yeah. Thank you. I guess, I'd like to describe, a little bit of last year as well. Last year, they were very organized. We showed up, they had space for everyone to compete. We got the plans, that we had to build, and it was there given to you guys, and then it was go, right? Compared to this year, when we showed up, they didn't have the walls put up. They didn't have the material out. We were supposed to show up there at 7 to be ready by 8. Nothing was out. It was about 30 to 28 competitors. I'm not sure on the number, but they only had space for like 12 to compete. So then the competition that was supposed to be 6 hours broke up to 3 hours. And then also they broke up the 30, the people that were, the 30 that were supposed to go, they were broken up into 2 groups. And the second group also got the plans, right? You guys went first. The afternoon group also got the plans. And if I had to call foul on anything, I would say it's that. Is if there's a competition and here's the quiz, and I give her the quiz and have her go first, but I also give you the quiz and you don't go till 3 hours, that means you have 3 hours to prepare. You have 3 hours to think. She's just going straight in, cold. And also they didn't have conduit there. It just, a lot happened that, we prepare, and in life they say, things like that are going to happen in a job site. But this is a competition, right? It's like you have a race car and they say, hey, you're going to go race, whatever. You're going to race on a racetrack, pavement. And then, the competition changes to like, oh, no, sorry, it's off-road. Well, you didn't prepare for off-road, right? You didn't prepare to go run your car in the desert, and I felt they really dropped the ball. And it hurt me because I seen you guys practice time and time and time again. Like you guys really honed in this year. And just to see at the fault of the adults, just completely, it just fell by. How about you, young man? First time, state competition. You're on this natural high from, all the amazing events and everything that happened. How was it, knowing and then, us speaking about the whole hype about SkillsUSA, and you show up, and how did you feel about the competition itself for state?
Well, I was super confident first. Like from what I heard, I was like, oh, we're going to get plans. We're going to get measurements of where certain things are going to go and stuff. But we got a little paper that looked like it was made on a dock and printed that morning. Like, it looked like it was just as prepared as the competition. There was just about the amount of materials we need, and they had a picture or a Google draw of where the things needed to go. And it caught me off guard, but I still wanted to hit it with my all. So, I tried, and with what they had, it was just really hard to keep on going. Especially when they cut off our power tools and they wanted us to use only little hacksaws and borrow them from each other. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it took like 30 minutes for one kid to cut one of the conduits.
Yeah. I guess last year we had spoken to them and we said, hey, hacksaws, who uses hacksaws, right? So we brought bandsaws to cut conduit. We brought bandsaws. I guess a couple other people brought hacksaws. In nowhere, no job site will you ever be cutting conduit with a hacksaw, right? They'll send you home, right? Mm-hmm. Or give you a bandsaw. So we set up a station and said, hey, There's this kid over there trying to cut conduit. He's taking like 20, 30 minutes out of his competition. Let them use the bandsaw. So we set up a station mid competition in the morning for you guys to use the bandsaw. The afternoon folks automatically got the bandsaw. Exactly. They didn't lose 30, 40 minutes using hacksaws. So there's a lot of discrepancies there. Adriana, you had something to say?
I also don't appreciate how they had us do the two exams of electrical and then not go by code after that. Because when we got to the competition, like the people who had won, why are they running Romex on like a wall? You have that's where conduit goes. And that kind of disappointed me because that's not how it was last year. Everything was up to code. Everything was, especially the PPE. We didn't get looked at this year, and that kind of scared me. Like, what if someone was off by something? What if someone didn't have the right equipment or anything on them?
I also think they didn't take into account the resumes.
Right.
Too. I think, and yeah, you do bring up a great point. In the plans, they had plywood on one side and they had studs on the other. In any given situation, you automatically know, based also on the last year's competition state, that on the plywood you run conduit, and then on the open studs you run Romex. And I think one of the guys that placed ran just straight Romex everywhere, and it's like what are we doing here, right? What are you basing the points off of? SkillsUSA it's a big competition, and I think when you're dealing with such numbers, your things are bound to go wrong, but I wish they would have, water under the bridge. I think you guys did great. Very proud of you guys. And I think you guys are go-getters. That you guys were ready for them. They weren't ready for you guys, right? So I wanna jump on this. Yeah, I wanna reflection and moving forward, right? What did you grab from all this? If you could look back and just look at stoically, what did you learn?
I kind of learned just to have patience and that not everything's gonna go my way. Because when I got there, I felt super confident, I felt ready, and I just got thrown off, and I was like, but I still did what I needed to do.
What about you, young man?
I learned to just not give up through hard times and stuff. Just if something's not going your way, then just keep going, keep pushing, do what you can to get through it or get get into a good place.
Nice. What about you, Rene? Well, what stoicism did you learn out of this? You show up, you're ready, you're fired up. You're competing against Adriana to take back what and how'd that feel? Like what if you could say you learned anything from this whole experience? What would it be?
I'd say to be prepared for the worst and keep pushing no matter what, even if it, as you said, doesn't go your way. And yeah, just keep pushing forward.
Good. You guys did great. Really, really great. How much time do we have on the?
33 minutes.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Okay. One thing that I do want to say, I want to thank DPR, Pedro Villanueva. You guys did go home with a gift. We packed you guys out with Milwaukee backpacks and hand tools, a drill as well. So in my eyes, you guys are always going to be winners. You guys are always going to, you guys come in here. You guys represent what Eden Area ROP represents, what we look for students to inspire to be. I think Eden Area ROP and these kind of programs I didn't have these programs when I was young. I think it would have definitely changed my whole perspective on life. You guys now have a skill that you've honed in that you're very good at. After ROP, what is your life looking like? What are you going to pursue?
I'll probably pursue a electrical career and maybe some carpentry.
Nice. You will do great. You are going to do great. How about you, young man? What do you see after high school happening for you?
Definitely see myself going into the electrical career and just any sort of construction.
Very
Most
good.
likely electrical.
Stick with it.
Yeah.
Stick with it. Adriana, how about you? How's high school looking? How's life looking after high school?
Really good. And I also want to be an electrician, but I really want to go more industrial commercial
Nice.
because I'm kind of don't want to run through people's houses. So
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
Yeah.
Industrial, commercial, yeah. They're both. I've done all three. I've done all three in solar, electrical lighting systems too, which are super fun. Which is residential. You guys would do great. You guys have a future in construction and in you know. We have a saying here, and it's from Jim Rome. You got to work harder on yourself than you do on your job, right? And you guys really, really elevate to that quote, right? Because, anybody can go dig trenches, anybody could go run wire. But when you're working harder on yourself to make yourself more valuable through education, through, challenging yourself, through, getting out of your comfort zone. Now that means you're working harder on yourself. And when you do that, you become a bigger asset to a company. And don't stop that, because you guys do that very well. So with that, guys, any burning questions or comments you guys want to leave us with? No? All right. Well, fantastic. That's the Stoic Builder Podcast, episode 2. And we are going to go with the names for this one was SkillsUSA, the good, the great, and the ugly. Thank you once again. And thank you very much, guys. Good job. All right.